Okay, this is my big Book of Shadows, and it's hard to see, but it's got a leaf design on the front of it. And then when you open it up, the first page is my druid name, and then when you turn it, the next page is the Song of Amergin, which is very important to druids. And then there's the armoring, which is kind of a daily protection thing you can do. And then the next page is the Druid Code. It talks about how druids live. And then we get into We Believe. It tells all the things that druids believe in. And then the next several pages is all about druid symbols, druid beliefs, what is druidry, and all that kind of information. And once you get past that, the next section in the book is, if I get to it, it's a lot of information about what druids believe, what their practices are. Wow. Okay, then we get to Sacred Space, and here's where we start talking about the elements, and we talk about the tree, and the fire, the three worlds, about ancestors. Then we get to the Druid Holy Days, which are all the Sabbats, the wheel of the year, and there's a little information about all the Sabbats here. Then there are rites for the Sabbats. There's also blessing rites, rites for of passage, daily rites, all kinds of rituals and blessings, devotions, things like that that druids may do. There's outdoor rituals, there's indoor, everyday rituals, any kind of ritual that druids might do. And then after that, which goes on quite a while in my book, there's also pages that have different chants that are used during ritual time. Many different kinds of chants. And then there's a section on the Celtic gods, goddesses, and mythology. And then after that, I've got the druid trees, the Ogrim, what it means, and that helps during divination. It also helps during the different moons of the year. And then there's a page here on the crane bag, which is something druids keep. It's like a medicine bag or a pouch that shamans would carry, and there's certain things that you're supposed to keep in your crane bag so that you can do spell work anywhere that you are, anytime. And then there's druid meditations in here. And then there's a elemental cross ritual, which would be kind of like the pentagram blessing that Wiccans use, only it's doing it in a druid way. More information on the elementals, and then there's just my pages that I've ordered online of different parchments that, you know, most witches, Wiccans, various people, you know, in the craft would want to put in their Book of Shadows. So any of those things are in there. And that's pretty much it. I do have the Wiccan Read in here, although I'm not a Wiccan. And I've got the Witch's Rune. So I end with the Song of Amergin just like I began with the Song of Amergin, because it is so important in Druid theology, culture, to revere that particular poem. It is kind of a poem of reincarnation and existence, and I would encourage you to look at that. But anyway, that's my big Book of Shadows. Then, hold on, this is actually a smaller notebook, and in it, this is my book of correspondences, and I'm going to give you a list of those. But I've got tabs in here. There's one for rituals, and I haven't got anything in rituals in this book yet. Then you got Sabbats on each one. I've written down the correspondences, a little bit about what all the Sabbats are for. Espats, I've got the colors, the deities, the stones, the flowers, the herbs, the scents, the trees, the birds, and the animals that are associated with each month of the year. So when the full moon comes, I want to do Espat ritual, I know what items I might want to incorporate. Then I've got a section on the deities, some invocations that I use, but I list out all the different deities that I revere. And then I've got a section on the elements, various things I might do to honor the elements in work. I've got your animals, I've got herbs, I've got gemstones. Like on my gemstones, I've listed all the gemstones and what all they're for. Oils, I've got various magical oils and what they're for. Herbs, same thing. This is all the herbs that I would keep in my herb cabinet and what they are good for in magical workings. Incenses, I have recipes of how to make particular magical incenses. Same thing with baths. I've got magical bath teas. I've got a list of symbols where instead of writing out beauty, fertility, friendships, you can use a symbol on your candles or whatnot. And then I've got a little section with spells. There's a couple of mojos and various things in here. And then I've got a section on divination that has more information on the Ogham, runes, things of that nature. And then druids are tree people, so I've got a nice little poem about the great tree and how trees have magical properties and what they're used for. So this would be my book of magical correspondences. Then I've got the spell book, which is of course a work in progress, and this one is all the tabs, all the different kinds of spells I might need, like against gossip. Turn here, it tells me if I'm doing a spell against gossip, I want to use black or yellow. That gemstone, the gemstone I'd use is moonstone. What tarot cards I can lay out for a tarot spell. What herbs, oil, or incense I might use to do a spell against gossiping people. What animals are helpful in that, if I want to call on a spirit animal. What deity to call on to do a spell like that. On some of these, I just have the correspondences. On some of them, I might have an actual spell or more than one spell that I have developed or used, for, like on money. It's a big thing for me. Do a lot of money spells, so of course I have more information under money than I do under against gossip, where I don't know of people gossiping about me. So this would be my spell book as it is, all the correspondences that go with the particular intention, and then any spells or mojos or incenses or whatever I've developed for that. So that would be my spell book. Then I've got my divination book, and this is just a notebook, common notebook, or it's a divination journal. And what I do with this one is, most days I get up when I have my morning coffee and I do a reading for myself, and I pick out 3 Ogham sticks, read those. I do messages from God, Goddess, and my spirit guide every day. So what I do is I use a Sacred Circle Tarot, and I pull 3 cards for Lou, 3 for Bridget, and 3 for my spirit guide, and I read those, and those are their guidance or message to me. And then I also pull 3 cards from my Druid Animal Oracle to see what animal guides are with me on that day. Then if I have any questions, I'll write them down, and then I take my pendulum and go back and answer the questions. If I am in the mood to do a full tarot reading, then I also do a tarot reading. But every day, that, you know, every other day, every 2 or 3 days, I take this out and do a reading for myself to kind of see if I'm on track, if I need to do any spell work, if any problems are coming, if any problems I have are being solved. So this is just, you know, a journal where I write down any kind of divination I do for myself. And it can be any kind of book, and when it's full up, sometimes I save them now, but when I first started I really didn't, because I was still learning divination and I wasn't thinking, you know, I was really all that good at it. This is a little teeny tiny book, and what I've done with it is I have filled it up with that same stuff that's in my spell book. And I've also drawn symbols of the Ogren for use to carve on a candle. So I've got, like under business success here, I've got, if I want to do a spell for that, I can carve the symbol onto a candle, or I can write it on a piece of parchment. It tells me what candle colors or cloth colors to use, what gemstones to use, what tarot cards I can lay out if I want to do a tarot spell. It tells me what herbs I can use in a mojo, or to anoint my candle with, or burn as incense or whatever. And then in this particular case, I have done a business spell, so this is the chant that I would say as I do the spell. So this is something that's very small. I can take it with me to the altar, easy to handle, easy to throw in my pocketbook if I'm going out. I like to have that information with me wherever I am. And then this book is the last one I've got right now, and it's a nice little tree journal. And what I've done with it is I'm making it into my ritual book, so that there's information about my trees and stuff in the front. There's different invocations, like this one's greeting of the morning. It's just something nice to say to start your day when you wake up. A rite of offering for spell work. It's like a little ritual if you're going to do a spell. There's an invocation of Bridget. I've got the Sabbats written in here. And then what I'm doing is, like, as I go along, and this book's not finished either, but like for sewing, I've got what kind of festival it is, what it's for, the deities honored, the colors, the herbs, the foods that one would eat in a meal prior to that, symbols, customs, and then the actual ritual that I do on every sewing. So I've got some in here, some I don't. Depends on where I'm at on copying the information from my notes into this book, which I'm not altogether through with. But at the moment, those are all the different books that I use in Druidry and witchcraft. And as you can see, it's quite a lot. So hopefully that'll help you by actually seeing what I'm working with. Alright, bye.